Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Tarafdar, back with a new video. Hey, Mark, how's it going? It's good to see you guys. It's good to see all of you. So I'm going to pop up the chat here so that I can see your comments. In most cases, we'll keep the questions until the very end, but today's the final part of our 5-part series in reference to the getting money for your business as a startup or if you're considering becoming an entrepreneur. So we had a pretty extensive level of information that was shared in the past. So I'm going to go ahead and start my screen, and hopefully you guys can see it. I know a lot of you guys are going to be joining in, so maybe I'll wait a few seconds or a couple of minutes before that starts. But yeah, if you're here on the chat or you're joining in live, let me know on the side. Just say hey, Ali, or yes. Give me a yes if you're here today. Give me a yes if you're here today. It's gonna be good that everybody participate in this. And it's going to be our final video of the 5-part series. So I got Tim, I got Mark. Hopefully others are going to be joining in soon. So that'll be great. Perfect. Good. Yeah, so you guys will learn quite a bit today as well. I know that in the past 4 days, we went extensively into taking your idea into incorporation. We also discussed the personal guarantee side, how to de-risk yourself. Now, most of you are here today because it's the 5th one, and possibly you missed a few. So I would say if you're finishing this video, by the time we're done, and if you haven't really had the opportunity to go through the other 4, maybe that's a stepping stone. So perhaps go through the whole process and learn exactly how you can take an idea and turn it into a powerful business while being able to get the capital that you need. Hey, Charlie, good to see you. Good to see you. So good, you guys are joining in. Glad to see that. Probably today we're going to have a bigger audience just because it is the weekend. No, it's 1 o'clock on the east side. Pacific, probably around 11, 10. So it's going to be interesting. But yeah, I strongly encourage you guys to stay through the entire presentation because I got some pretty powerful stuff to share with you that'll help you. If you have a startup or you're an entrepreneur and you want to get some funding for your business. This will help you. Pretty much this is the conclusion of our 5-part video series to start. So I'm just going to wait a few more seconds until everybody joins in. And of course, more and more people will come probably halfway through or at some point in the presentation, but that's okay. Again, this is recorded. It is a live, so most of you guys will have access to the recordings as well. So let's start with hopefully you guys can see my screen. Please let me know if you can see my screen. Say yes if you can see my screen, just because I want to make sure that you guys have access to whatever I'm going to be presenting here. Give me a yes if you can see my screen, please. It's going to be important. I just need a couple of yeses so I can proceed with the presentation that you have. Do you guys see the part 5 of 5? Just give me a yes. If you guys can't see my screen, let me know. If you can, just give me a yes. On the question, on the chat box, give me a yes so that I can continue with our presentation. Perfect. Great. Okay, so it looks like most of you can. Perfect. So let's get started. Without further ado, let's talk about the 7 powerful shortcuts to funding your business. See, in the past, a lot of us, we get scared when we think about a startup, asking for money for a startup. Most of us, what we want to do is we want to use our own money. And that's great. Everybody wants to start something. They want to use their own money. And the problem with that is you're kind of restricted as well, because there's only so much you can do on an individual basis. If you go out there, you try to borrow, you're probably going to get like 50 grand, maybe even 40, maybe 70, maybe not a lot. And that also depends strongly on your credit, because your business hasn't really established any foundation of its own. So you take out a lot of personal risk and a guarantee, and you go out there and you try to do your business. That's the old way of thinking, right? But even till date, surprisingly, a lot of people start their business by using their personal guarantee. They think, oh, I cannot get money from outside. I'm going to do it like this because I'm scared to either ask for money, or it's because I'm not confident enough to handle it, or they think it's not possible. So I want to demystify all this. Okay, I want to demystify all this and these 7 powerful shortcuts. So what we've discovered so far, and hopefully you guys were with me throughout this entire session, was that we talked about taking a solid idea, right? If you have an idea, it's really solid, you can actually turn it into some business. You can incorporate that. But prior to doing that, you also want to pay attention to the way you position yourself, right? Because if you have a powerful position, if you go in the market, you can actually charge a premium at a certain rate that will help you essentially, becoming more profitable in a very short period of time. And that is pretty much our objective and aim all throughout the entire structure that we have going. You also learn about taking a checklist that's really mindful and thoughtful about you as an entrepreneur, what you need to be successful. So when you start as an entrepreneur, you need these checklists because it'll give you some guidance, but at the end of it all, it'll give you some path of least resistance, right? We talked about incorporating some of the rules. There are rules to everything that you do, especially in business, but there are certain ways to incorporate in a way that helps you protect yourself. Also, personal guarantees. I gave you guys $1 million worth of lessons on how to protect yourself, shift the risk, how to temporarily guarantee and waiver that guarantee in a short period of time, and so on and so forth. We talked about tactical and strategic asset protection, right? What are some of the extra elements that you can add outside of, am I protected by an LLC? You have to go beyond that. You have to think deeper, go outside the box. So we talked about that. We also talked about yesterday the multiple funding avenues. There are so many of them that you guys actually can go look at the video from yesterday and go through the entire series to learn about some of the different ways you can actually get capital for your business. And then today, we're going to talk about the 7 shortcuts of funding faster, more efficiently, and painlessly. And these shortcuts, they are designed in a way to give you outside of the box thinking. Because most of us, like I said, when we start a business, we're so accustomed to thinking we have to take it upon ourselves on a personal level to guarantee the amount of money that we need for our business. And when we don't get what we're looking for, what ends up happening is we either put our dreams on hold and try to build that up. But the reality is you don't have to do that. You can actually go ahead and do it right now and use these strategies that I'm about to share with you to accelerate and literally go into funding within a 2 to 3 week basis, depending on how you do it and how much energy you put into it. So just a quick reminder, this is a standard for all the presentation I've done so far on the money for startups and entrepreneurs is hold your questions until the end. I would love it. You guys know that this is a business related topic. So if you have any questions in reference to this specific nature of conversation in the context of what I'm describing, please feel free to share so that we can all participate together and people who are listening and can get some clarity. Again, keep in mind, I am not a legal professional or an attorney, therefore I can't give you legal advice. But whatever I'm sharing is contextually information and education that you can go out there and learn and ask questions about and do your research to get the maximum value. Now, if you have a pen and paper, please take out some information that I'm going to share. Not everything's going to be on the slide deck. So I might say certain things or words that you might want to catch on to, even throughout the replay as a reference point so that you have better clarity. Again, if you're not participating in the live chat during a question and answer session, you have the comment section below if you're watching a replay. Feel free to use that, ask the questions that you need to, and I'll do my very best to get back to each and every one of you. As always, if you're new, don't forget to subscribe, turn that bell icon on. New videos like these will be popping up regularly. And please share this video with those that you know for a fact can benefit from whatever is being taught today. Let's get started. So funding your business, right? We're going to give you guys shortcuts, specifically 7 shortcuts above the industry standard to drive the results that you need to get your business underway, your idea into some solid foundation. Let's go ahead and review that together. So objectively, what we're trying to do is we're trying to maximize time and efficiency, right? Like I said, most of us, in the past, we go out there, we try to personally guarantee funding on our own. And what ends up happening is we don't get a certain amount. We have a predetermined amount in our mind, but the numbers don't make sense. So we just basically put all our dreams on hold. And that's a very bad thing to do. Today, you're going to learn how not to do that and actually pursue your dreams, regardless of whether or not you have the exact financials to pursue it on your own. Most people want to go out there and do things on their own, but it's possible to achieve the results. The best outcomes are created from delegating tasks, responsibilities, and objectives. So don't be afraid to do that. Don't be afraid to partner up. Right? Learn to work with complementary skill sets and individuals who offer that. Avoid falling for currency trap. A lot of people think money is everything. Take advantage of the barter and skills today that's out there, right? And replacement of currency. Are you harvesting regularly? Do you have enough to feed the town? Are the relationships growing? Right? That's what I'm asking about. And always try to practice being fundable, like as it were a ritual, right? Don't stop. And I'm going to show you exactly how you can do that with the banks. But remember, capital raising actually never stops, right? And there is a reason why. The only time it does is if you plan on killing your own business. Outside of that, I'm assuming that you want your business to grow constantly, correct? So if so, how can you stop raising capital for it to expand into the different markets and the products and services that you want? It never stops. So keep that in mind before we even get started. So the first shortcut we're going to talk about is the OPC. Now, most people are familiar with the OPC, what we call it, the OPM, which is other people's money. We're going to talk about that as well. But OPC is other people's credit. And objectively, other people's credit essentially, you have a partner, you may not have the credit, but they may have it. You may have the knowledge that you took from this video series about how to protect their credit, how to delegate it. So in a way that it is de-risking them in a year's worth of time, you can waiver that. And you have a plan in place and you can show it to them and they understand and they're excited about it, right? So it works when you have the tools, right? A lot of people go out there and ask people to guarantee a business or certain things and it doesn't work and they stop talking to that person and relationship starts faltering and spreading themselves out over and over again. And just because they weren't really set up to have that conversation in the first place. I want you guys to be confident and really, contextually looking at other people's credit as a means to be able to take the business, at least start it, and build the assets that you need to waiver that guarantee over time and give them a piece of the pie. But you have to be comfortable enough to explore that avenue. Because if you can do that, then that means you're already shortcutting a process and you're practicing fundability with financial institutions that you already talked to that you can bring to the table and make it easy for the transaction. Okay. But be ready to do that. And by the way, you can have one LLC with multiple credit members. You can have like multiple people guaranteeing it, and you can end up getting like $500,000, $600,000, $700,000, right? But what I'm saying is at least have a proof of concept. The idea has to be solid. Make sure you have the personal guarantee protections in place, like the asset protection we talked about, right? Have a way to waiver that guarantee in a short period of time. Usually, a short period of time, when I say that in a business context, is usually between 12 to 36 months. And then have the plan in place to protect them and their interests, right? But you can definitely leverage that as part of the shortcut to get into funding literally within 2 to 3 weeks of starting an idea in a business. So that's one of the ways. Next is OPM. You guys know this one. It's very popular in the real estate world. It's other people's money. But again, are there funds being jeopardized? Is asset protection in place? Is all the waivers in place? Do you have all the plans that are solid enough that they can actually look at it and say, yeah, I actually trust this idea. I'm in all 100%. And again, that also contextually requires a level of trust and confidence to be able to help you. So like I said, a lot of people go the wrong way of approaching this. They just have an idea really without thinking it through, without following the steps I've given, without really harvesting and looking at fundability and just asking for money right off the get-go. And in that perspective, it's very wrong because what ends up happening is there's really no thought to it. And don't be surprised if that individual even stops talking because they feel like, oh, you're not somebody worth having, because now that they said no to you, they'll feel awkward even talking, right? So it's important to have everything ready before you pursue any of these shortcuts. So you have the credit option and now you have the money option. So that's another way to shortcut funding. And this is good because you can actually merge. If you have a decent credit, but you need some cash, then remember we talked about the MFA, the multiple flanking attack. So, that could have been a way to start capital raising as well. Just bear with me, guys. Just give me a few seconds. All right, guys. As you can hear in the background, there's actually a fire alarm. So we might have to exit our premise. Um, Let me see if it actually stops in the next few seconds. I'll let you guys know. Just bear with me for 2 seconds. Sorry, guys. Can you hear me? Looks like we're back. Yeah. So it was a temporary setback. I apologize about that. So let's continue. So again, you have to have all the resources in place, and have to have the confidence to be able to approach the individuals that you're asking money for. So it seems that most people are afraid for two reasons. They don't want to approach others because they feel, oh my God, asking for money, asking them to guarantee or sign. It's interesting. So let's go ahead and continue there. Other people's resources. Now, the first one was credit. Second one was money. This one is resources. So the reason why we use this one is because let's say you may not have the credit. The person may not have the credit. The person may have the money, but they don't have the credit. You have the credit. Now, outside of that, you may need other things. Like that person may have resources where you can get equipment at a discount because it's in a liquidation from a bankruptcy of a business that you can leverage as an asset to get the equipment financing and so on and so forth. So there's many different creative ways. We talked about the multiple flanking attack, right? Which is yesterday we talked about the different avenues of funding. It's like a pie chart to complete the total image to get the money that you need. But use the network that you have and literally go in it directly that you're in touch with your first degree connections and access the resources they have. Be able to offer them solutions to win as well. Make them feel like they're appreciated and offer equity or whatever you need to do to literally get a deal done. And that's one of those ways that you can literally shortcut the capital raising efforts in a very short period of time. Now, these other people's resources can also be third-party assets, right? Like, oh, I have assets sitting around. Can I use this or so on and so forth outside of money and outside of credit? But you have to be willing to explore that and create a solution that they are be able to participate through those resources as well. So that's the shortcut number 3. Other people's skills, OPS, sorry. Now, you have credit, you may have money, you may have the assets, and you actually need somebody to go out there and really connect you to a certain specific skill set that's required for you to get over the hump, get over the level where you actually go and be successful in the business that you're trying to pursue. For example, you can have a person with good credit and they say, yeah, I'll guarantee for you, no problem, looks like a solid plan. And another person with some money that you can raise and say, yeah, I'll come in, I'm down to participate with you guys. And you may have the business idea. But the other two are a little bit hesitant. And they say, look, we want to do this, but we feel strongly like if somebody from this kind of background was stepping in, then for sure I'd have no issues coming in and participating. Now, most of the times they say that as an objection. The reality is they're kind of scared. But you can overcome that by allowing somebody that you know for a fact who can complement whatever is missing and whatever is requested, and you know for a fact that'll benefit your business. And you plug that hole and you bring them together and you say, look, now we have everything we need. Let's get started, right? And you want to do this sooner. You want to do this sooner than later because you want to do it while it's still hot, right? While the iron is still hot, you want to strike. So that's how other people's skill sets can come into hand and into play. But it's not just a perspective of capital raising. It also means that there are certain factors that make your business more successful, and other people's skill sets can help and contribute towards that level of success. So keep that open. Next, other people's networks, OPN. A lot of people say, okay, I have a first degree connection to certain resources that can access the capital, the credit. But what about the person that you are talking to who says, well, I don't have any of those, but they may have the network. So important to explore those avenues, right? Look at the network, go out there, do some meet and greets, participate, just continuously harvest those relationships. What ends up happening is you have a big enough network that if you put together a solid idea, it makes sense. You have all the things that you need. You have all the pieces of the pie and you're missing one piece. It shows that you're prepared, and networks are willing to jump into opportunities that are less risky. And you would have done the de-risking already because you would have followed my 5 videos and hopefully other research as well. But by this time, it's not very difficult to pursue these shortcuts because what I'm telling you right now is things that would have you ready to be able to go and pursue that. It's not like you'll be unprepared, right? So think about that, harvest your relationships, go out there, do what you got to do and explore the avenues that you need to do the multiple flanking attack, the MFA way of literally raising the capital structures to fund your idea or your business as an entrepreneur. Leverage buyouts. You guys know about this one in the private equity world, which is using a series of debt instruments, over leveraging and paying debt in order to finance an entire operation or a business. And, a lot of people do this, but we are not talking private equity, right? You guys are starting an idea. You're an entrepreneur. But in your situation, like we talked about the MFA, the LBO can be something that you can go out there and say, look, I have multiple debts. You can be, like I said, multiple credit partners, multiple capital partners, multiple resources and network resources. It could be different type of equipments, different type of situations with skill sets, and using the combination of that and getting a transaction done and putting it together. It may sound like a lot of complicated things, but if you get organized ahead of time and you actually have a blueprint and a plan to go ahead and do that, and you just check the boxes and go down that checklist, you'll be okay. It's just you have to have the ability to connect whatever is necessary to complete the transaction. All right. Finally, now, if you have a business or an idea and you're like, maybe it's not worth starting something, but I do see a business that can potentially benefit from what I have, and I want to partner with that individual or business owner. In that perspective and context, what you're simply doing is buying an existing business and you're submerging your new idea or plan into it. We talked about that in the capital matchmaking series, which you guys would have seen as part of the channel. But this is one of those shortcuts. And the reason I say this is a shortcut is because now you have to go and run the whole marathon, right? You can just run the last 10 yards and still kind of win it. So that's one of those ways that you can actually benefit greatly by submerging your idea or plan into an existing business that probably has been around for, some of the things to look out for example, is how long they've been around. They've been around. They have a good reputation in the market for at least 3 years. They have solid customer base. You want to check that. You want to see if they have any bad reviews. Are there any legal actions against them, and so on and so forth? There's a little bit of due diligence you might have to do. But the end result is they're worth investigating and talking with in order to bring their business to the next level, because they already have your existing client base, and now they can actually benefit more by adding some idea that's fresh and ideal into their business plan. And basically, you're bringing it to the table, and you're going to execute it along their side, so they have less stress and deployment of resources, and that's your way into a business that you can profit from. So that's the shortcut number 7, guys. So I'm going to give you some important reminders because I think these are some of the pointers that you absolutely need to follow to benefit the most. Keep in mind, preparation is key. Okay, preparation is key. If you're not prepared, for sure, like all these things that I described to you up to point number 7, you have other people's credit, other people's resources, other people's networks, other people's assets, capital, and so on and so forth. Whatever the case, you have to be prepared. If you're prepared, it's a lot easier to talk to these individuals because you have a solid game plan, right? So think of the following when you're actually venturing in and starting a business. Have a personal credit profile as well for personal reference. Like if you don't have the credit right now, that's fine. You can leverage that, like I said, other people's credit. But in the meantime, have an exit strategy, right? That waiver of their guarantee on a minimal level should be your personal credit coming into place and exiting them if they can, while allowing them to retain a certain percentage of the company because they were there to initially help you start your idea. Run through an asset protection diagnostics. We talked about this, right? Asset protection is one of those things that's underlooked. And I always said asset protection is not a reflex, right? It's not a reactive thing. It's something that you have to be prepared to, right? You have to take the preparation to run the diagnostics and patch up the holes that exposes you directly or indirectly, because that can put you in a lot of risk. Finally, start incorporating as soon as you got proof of concept, your idea, or submerge it with an existing business, as I always say. Think of business credit as well. You need that. And again, these are things that you would do to waiver any type of risk that you took on in the beginning, because you can exit them, these people who helped you at the beginning, through your shortcuts with a game plan, right? And you can actually exit them very slowly while allowing them to retain equity in the company. Think of letting the world know about the idea. If it's good, if it's an amazing idea, be ready to invest in building awareness, familiarity, and bringing it to market. Advertising dollars, marketing revenue. Things of that nature that you need to put in a contingency outside of asset protection and risk that has to be considered. Because at the end of the day, you can't sit still and open the doors and expect the people just to walk into your business. Sometimes it takes a little bit of effort to build that level of familiarity and awareness because there's so much noise in the world. So keep this in mind. 90% of the work that you do will be launching the business, right? And that should be tied to preparing for the launch. If it's well structured and prepared and solid and actually does provide a great amount of benefit, the remaining 10% will essentially be effortless because you'll follow the best practices that I've had prescribed for you guys throughout the entire video series. Okay, so that's one of those things I want you guys to be really prepared with. So let's go over and think about, okay, well, Ali, you told me about the shortcuts. It has to do with credit, money, other people, resources, networks, and so on and so forth, leverage, buyout. You even talked about submerging it into a business. What about the banks? What about the banks? Are they actually lending right now? How do we find that out? Right? How do we find that out? So let's go over that just quickly here, so that we can, continue. So you can actually unlock a lot of money, right? It doesn't have to be anybody else's credit. Although if you start, the banks should be your exit strategy to waiver any guarantees or people's credit that they put in, to protect them. Okay, because what it does is it actually helps them have trust in you, and then you can work with them in the future and continue using the bank's money as well after. But again, most are scared to go out and engage financial institutions because they're startups, right? They'll go into business and they're like, oh, I'm not going to get money from my bank. They won't give me the money. It won't work. And the reality is they don't really take the effort to find out. And most think that they won't qualify for underwriting. That's the fact. But whoever said that you alone have to be the one qualified, right? So that's one of those things that I want you guys to be really comfortable with. And I'm going to give you some homework. Let's say, if you have an idea or business that you want to take to the next level, maybe start with this. Start with picking up the phone and calling the institutions who actually lend money regularly. Ask them questions, and ask to speak with the commercial or business lending department. Use questions like how can I instead of can I? Because if you want a no answer, you're going to say can I. If you say how can I, you unlock the creative thinking of that underwriter, because they've been seeing so many different scenarios, or branch manager, whoever it is in that commercial lending department. And they say, look, Ali, here are certain things that you can do that we looked at in the past. Also ask them if they lent any amount of money in the recent couple of weeks or months to businesses like yours to get a clear perspective. Because if they haven't, don't you think you're probably talking to the wrong institution? Maybe they specialize in medical and you're asking them for funding, let's say, some technology stuff. So again, you have to take your time to ask, right? These are the questions that you need to ask. Also, you can ask them for a detailed outline of underwriting, what they're looking for, what's some of the things that they want to see, documentation, and so on and so forth. So have that ready. And at least take the effort in the next 3 to 4 weeks to talk to at least 10 to 12 banks here in the United States. It's a land of opportunity. You have all sorts of institutions opening on a day-to-day basis, especially locally. Pick up the phone, ask these questions, call at least 10 to 12 banks per day if you have a business that you're serious about, okay, and you want to take it to the next level. And this is how you prepare yourself. Because if you go to somebody who has credit, money, resources, their networks, their skills, right? If you have a detailed outline of the institutions that lend, their underwriting criteria, what they're looking for, you have a whole list of things that you've prepared ahead of time, how will it make you look? Is it going to be easier for them to trust you and say, oh, this person knows what they're doing? And by the way, you can say, these are our exit strategies. So when you come in with your money, you're going to have equity in the company. By the time we exit you, you'll still retain a certain amount of equity, but we want to give you your money back for building your trust and extending that trust to us for us to do business together, right? So that's how you work with financial institutions. All right. So far, so good, guys. I hope you've learned quite a bit in terms of how to extend and go through those shortcuts, because they're really powerful if you know what you're doing. So that sums up the shortcuts and dealing with financial institutions. Like I said, you guys have to take the time to really call and put together a list. Nobody's going to do it for you. If everybody's going to do it for you, they're going to charge you an arm and a leg, and it's not going to be what you're looking for. Changes are happening on a day-to-day basis. So if you're going to invest your own time and build your own confidence, right? Next up. So what's coming up next? The Ultimate Business Credit Mastery course, guys. All right. So I'm going to be going through a list of things that we're going to be offering. The first thing you'll have is the leadership mentoring and training, right? It's a monthly thing. You guys will participate with me. We'll talk about certain different avenues while we continue to help you excel in the business that you're in. We'll also have the business credit building platform, of course. I'll provide you with some external premium level of content and education and guidance, because you absolutely need that if you're going to take your business to the next level. I'll give you a deeply discounted access to the UPCM as well as a CDR suite, because we always want to focus on our personal credit. You'll have access to the Real Estate Titan Blueprint and Bundle. This is basically a Titan blueprint for building massive amounts of real estate using leverage resources and being able to do it while benefiting greatly your investors, the people who are in it, your tenants, and so on and so forth. You'll have access to the 6-figure proven growth plan and invaluable tools and resources to help you grow your business outside of the credit, right? And finally, this is the kicker. You'll have access to our portfolio of businesses that are profitable and growing at a guaranteed 30% discount. So what I do is every month we have access to this portfolio of businesses, usually about 30 to 40, and we're unloading this list. In addition to that, 50% of that, let's say at the 70 cents on the dollar, 50% of that can be financed with a specialty loan company that we're very close with that doesn't require any credit checks and so on and so forth. This alone is worth hundreds of millions of dollars in value. Okay. Plus, you get so much more because, again, we're going to update the course content and pricing. So I say it's 100K of value, but it's actually quite a bit more because it's going to be updated on a regular basis. And keep this in mind, guys. This isn't your typical business credit builder program. I guarantee you it isn't. Like anything that I do and strive to provide, it's important that you think hard and strong about who you align with and what you do. So if you're going into business and you thought about it and you're watching this video series, this probably means that you want to get your business underway, your idea underway. This is some investment that you cannot skip out on, right? Now, here's the kicker. For those who essentially are UPCM clients, I actually got a special gift for you guys. If you're already here and you've already participated in the UPCM, you guys know who you are. There's something I'm going to do for you. All right. You get a lifetime 50% discount on the business credit whenever you want to do it. All right. So whenever you guys are hopping on in the future, whether now or not, when you guys are ready, you get a lifetime 50% discount on this program. In addition, for those who actually have the UPCM or are planning to access it in the next 7 days, and you guys should have got an email series from the different bonuses that you'll get with it, you'll have access to the 50% discount. All right. So remember, action beats thinking. So whatever I taught you guys so far, whatever you learned about getting access to a great idea, turning that into an incorporation, getting the funding, protecting your assets, building the resources out there, and creating $1 million business, well, it doesn't start with you just thinking. You have to go out there, act now, do your research, and get rewarded later. All right. So that's pretty much it for the shortcuts and some of the bonuses that I wanted to share with you guys. So I'm going to leave it open for Q&A. Let me put the camera back on so that we can chat properly here. Hopefully it's coming back. Great. All right. Now I see the chat, guys. By the way, hello to everybody. I see some of you guys just came in. Lita, good to see you. Tim, Mr. Sam, always good to see you. So that sums it up, these shortcuts. So I'm open to question, guys. Do you have any specific questions in reference to what was shared today? And I'm sorry about the little alarm incident, just a minute or two, but we got back right into it. So, guys, if you have any questions, now's the time to ask. And again, those who are watching the replay, you guys will have access to the video. And you can always respond by going to the comment section and asking your questions. I hope you guys enjoyed the content and the context of what I shared with you. You got some value out of it, and hopefully you'll take the actions that you need to go out there and do great on your own and start your business, and you're looking forward to it with a lot of enthusiasm and excitement as well. On that side, I'm waiting for you guys to ask some questions. I'll keep it open, this queue, for a few minutes. Just I want to give everybody some fair time. And then, of course, we'll resume. Yeah, Sam, you said it sounds incredible. Yeah, so the reason why it is incredible is because I want to make sure everybody has all the resources to be able to get what they need. Of course, to maximize the potential value of whatever they're doing. A lot of people will go and buy these $1,000 business credit courses and thousands of dollars and basically, go through a process where now they need money, now they have to go through this company, and now they have to pay 10% and so on and so forth. It's just an endless bundle of like going nowhere fast, right? And things change on a constant basis. Now they may have updated databases and so on and so forth, but they're totally hindering on the ability for you to go and borrow to become successful. Where in the world of business, there's a lot more than just money and credit and debt that you have to think about. The Business Credit Builder program, the ultimate business credit mastery, is beyond just looking at debt or credit or borrowing to survive. It's going beyond the level of survival into prosperity and building massive amounts of wealth through your business and success, and learning how to do things at a more elevated perspective and level. So I hope you guys understand that. So any questions? Looks like nobody's asking. Means that I probably did hopefully a decent job at explaining everything today. Either way, I hope you guys had fun, that you learned, and you took some value from today's session. Once again, if you're not able to think of any questions right now, you can always put it in the video later when the replay is live. And I look forward to answering each and every one of you. Sorry. And I hope to see you guys next time. Once again, this is your guide and mentor, Ali Tarafdar. I'll see you guys next time. Bye for now.